as far as that Quad grouping is concerned, since you referred to it, Akshay, that is definitely something that China has been watching very keenly.
Well, clearly, because Quad grouping is of these four countries that are rather facing a threat of China, increasing hurdles that China is creating in the Indo-Pacific region. As far as freedom of navigation is concerned, as far as trade is concerned, there are artificial islands that China is building in that area. China is also increasing its defense spending. It is strengthening its navy, and from what we have seen, be it border skirmishes, or when it comes to the freedom of navigation or freedom of patrolling in the Indo-Pacific region or Indian Ocean, China has been trying to dominate in that particular region, and it is extremely crucial area as far as trade is concerned for Australia. Australia is an island nation. It's surrounded by the Indian Ocean, Indo-Pacific, region, and that is the reason Australia would want better ties with nations that are sharing maritime borders with it, and that is the reason why Japan, US, and India become extremely crucial for Australia's own security. So Quad grouping is extremely important for all of these four nations, and it is a direct counter to the Chinese hegemony in that region, growing Chinese hegemony in that region, and that is why China has, from the day one, trying to dismiss the relevance of Quad, how important it is, be it security or trade. It has been saying that Quad is a grouping that is meant to fail. We have seen these kind of dismissive statements coming in from China, and that is clearly showing frustration inside the Chinese establishment that has been trying to dominate the region by either investing in the countries, by giving debt to these nations, or be it threatening countries when it comes to repayment of these debts. The resurgence of Quad, and rather the growing relation between Quad nations is a direct counter to the growing Chinese threat in the region, and that is why it seems rattled whenever there is either Quad leader summit, or very recently on the sidelines of G20 foreign ministers meet, there was a Quad foreign ministers meet as well on the sidelines of Raisina Dialogue. So we saw there as well China, and in fact for that matter Russia as well this time, they were dismissive of the relevance of Quad, and that clearly shows frustration inside the Chinese establishment.
Right. Also, very importantly, Akshay, because you covered the defense sector as well, the Australian Prime Minister, while he was on board INS Vikrant, also announced that Australia for the first time will be hosting exercise Malabar, and India also for the first time will participate in Australia's Talisman Sabre exercise. Could you explain the significance of that?
For me, for people to understand the relevance of these bilateral and trilateral exercises that both India and Australia they conduct, it becomes very crucial to find strategic allies who will take part in these bilateral exercises, because India and Australia, they share maritime borders. How their navies coordinate, how their navies cooperate, and they grow together, they learn together, it becomes extremely important, because in a scenario when we talk of a possibility of war with China, between China and Australia, Australia can look up to India, Japan, and US to come to its aid. When it comes to the growing Chinese hegemony in the Indian Ocean region, it can look up to Australia for that matter, Japan for that matter, when it comes to coming to the aid in any possibility of a conflict. So these are certain challenges that India and Australia face, and that is why these kind of bilateral exercises, when they are conducted, it gives a glimpse into each other's working as far as the conducting of naval exercises are concerned, conducting of naval operations are concerned. And it's not just China we are talking about. We're also talking about in the Indo-Pacific region there has been threat of piracy. Both of these nations have cooperated in the past as well. They have been close strategic allies when it comes to anti-piracy operations. So in the Indo-Pacific region, in the Indian Ocean region, where China has been trying to grow its dominance, where there has been threat of piracy very constantly, the growing security ties between India and Australia through these kind of bilateral naval exercises will give better understanding to each other, to both of these nations and their respective navies into the functioning of each other's modus operandi. So that is the relevance of these kind of exercises, be it Malabar or the other exercises that are conducted. It gives a better understanding to the Navy of India and to the Navy of Australia on how their allies they operate and they function when it comes to these kind of operations are concerned.